Since the dawn of time, or at least the Syracuse Nationals era, these have been the demise of many a potential NBA dynasty, and Golden State will need to guard against the growing influence of any of the three. The Warriors have been fortunate to have a roster made up of players light on the egos. There is not much bickering about shot totals or touches, which is a tough thing to pull off on a team packed with 4 All-Stars, unless those players are into their 30s. But all of the Warriors' top stars are in their prime seasons. But we've got questions, starting with, what did reserve forward David West mean when he told ESPN that there was much negativity behind the scenes? Y'all got no clue. No clue. That tells you about this team that nothing came out, David West said. https://t.co/Fervix860, Mark J. Spears, at Mark Spears suspend, June 9, 2018. Can the Warriors stay on the same page? Will Klay Thompson, a free agent next summer, continue to accept his job as the Warriors? No. 3 option, taking 16.1 shots per game? Will the always outspoken Draymond Green eventually start agitating for more of an offensive role? Will fingers be pointed if the fourth quarter difficulties that showed in the conference finals continue into next year? Will Stephen Curry finally lose it over again being denied the finals MVP in favor of Kevin Durant? Are Golden State players just messing with us? In today's At 90 Sports column on the Warriors, here's one theory making the rounds in team circles about the David West "y'all got no clue" soliloquy about behind-the-scenes chaos this season. pic.twitter.com/TLR4Huko. Mark Stein, at @Steinline, June 11, 2018. If there are problems in the Warriors locker room in the future, they might be exacerbated as the organization continues giving out big paydays. Curry has gotten his contract signed through 2022 with $166 million remaining. Durant is next up, possibly getting a 4-year, $160 million deal this summer. Thompson is up in 2019, and Green in 2020. The Warriors will move into a lucrative new arena after next season, and ownership has said it will pay players as long as they're contending for championships. Still, if the Warriors keep their 4 stars together on another round of contracts, their luxury tax bill will be staggering, perhaps pushing total player costs past the $300 million mark, as much as 3 times the salary cap. Perhaps the front office will have to draw a line at just how far into the tax the team ought to go. The only way to alleviate that burden is to cut loose one of the stars. If the Warriors can tame egos and financial pressures, boredom figures to be their chief short-term adversary. Too often during this postseason, the Warriors seemed stuck in about third gear, only kicking into top speed when absolutely necessary. They played like a bored team. Motivation was something coach Steve Kerr struggled to force into his team all season. He pushed them hard enough to bring them back to the championship, but it will be more difficult to recreate a sense of urgency over and over as this team plows forward. Big issue 2, the Warriors were a deep team this year only in the sense that Kerr had a number of options he could use from game to game, depending on the matchups. But they weren't so deep in the sense of building a bench that functioned as a unit. That just never really came together this season. The Warriors will have limited resources, but they will have open opportunities. Outside of their top 4, Andre Iguodala and Shaun Livingston are the only veterans who are sure bets to be back. Jordan Bell, coming off a solid rookie year, will return, too. After that, the Warriors will look to get younger and more versatile off the bench, even as they fret over potentially losing locker room leaders. That could start with West. He and Zaza Pachulia are extraneous here, except for their veteran voices. Golden State will have a decision to make on center JaVale McGee, who played well in flashes but was not consistent. Nick Young is surely gone. Kevin Looney probably will not be back either, but that's based more on the workings of his contract than on performance. The Warriors should try to keep second-year man Patrick McCaw if they can do so at reasonable money, though he struggled with injuries this year and regressed on the floor. That means the Warriors will try to fill 4 or 5 bench spots using mostly veteran minimum deals. They do have the 28th overall pick this season, and they could buy a second-rounder, as they did with Bell in the last draft. There's hope that some of the rotation holes can be filled that way, by developing young players. It's a risky way to ensure roster depth, though. Free agent outlook: the re-signing of Durant should get done with ease, the only question being whether he wants the full max deal now, or a shorter contract that allows him to hit free agency in 2 years, should things take a bad turn in Warriorland. Unlikely to get done, a contract extension for Thompson and/or Green. Of the two, Green is more likely to accept a new deal now, but both can make more by waiting until they hit free agency rather than securing extensions this summer. Beyond that, the Warriors' challenge will be, as we've covered, sorting out the bench. Most likely, they'll keep a big guy, McGee, with Iguodala, Livingston and Bell off the bench. McCaw should stick around too, barring a big offer elsewhere. And Jones is under contract. With little money available, the Warriors can wait out the first few weeks of free agency and see what's left on the market. For those players stuck without a decent contract slot, spending a year on a minimum contract with Golden State and possibly winning a championship will be a good option, and the Warriors can go bargain hunting. Of course, last summer, that yielded only Young and Omar Caspi. With better challengers expected next year, the Warriors will need more luck in free agency this time around. The young folks: the Warriors made a mistake in not picking up the 4th-year option on 22-year-old Looney's contract after his struggles to show improvement last year, because he proved his value this season. But because they turned down the option, Golden State can offer him no more than $2.2 million. Bell, only 23, showed promise in his first year out of Oregon. He is a very good defensive forward, a shot blocker who can erase mistakes in the paint with his athleticism. He was most often compared to Green coming out of college, and while that is a stretch, he has defensive value. McCaw is the other promising young prospect. At 6'7", he has shown the ability to be an imposing perimeter defender, but if he is going to play a 3-and-D role in the NBA, he's got to get better on the three-point portion of things. He'll be a restricted free agent this year, so the Warriors can match any offer as long as they make a qualifying offer. Center Damian Jones, 22, has spent most of his 2 seasons in the G League, and the Warriors will need to decide whether he has an NBA future with the team. The Warriors do have their first-round pick in this draft. Scoring punch off the bench is a priority with that pick, and there should be some polished NCAA scorers available at no. 28. Wait till next year. We can pencil the Warriors into a spot in the conference finals next year, at least. Houston will continue to be Golden State's big problem, and the Rockets probably should have taken down the Warriors. They were up 3-2 in the West Finals, and Houston, playing without star Chris Paul, held third-quarter leads in both games 6 and 7. There was some good fortune in getting back to the finals. It will take more than good fortune next year, for a couple of reasons. For one thing, Cleveland star LeBron James, who has now seen the Warriors 4 straight years in the finals, could head west, which would add another serious contender to the conference. If James goes to Houston, a slim chance the Rockets might well be favorites next season. If he goes to the Lakers along with, say, Kawhi Leonard or Paul George, then an entirely new problem will have sprouted in the West. Should the Warriors reach the finals, they may find that the next East champ is a trickier matchup than Cleveland has been. Boston is the most obvious contender, having reached Game 7 of the East Finals, with two stars, point guard and one-time Warrior slayer Kyrie Irving, and wing Gordon Hayward, on the sidelines with injuries. The Celtics' versatility on both ends makes them a deeper, tougher potential matchup for Golden State. And there are the Sixers, too. Philadelphia is holding the No. 10 pick in this year's draft, as well as enough cap space to sign a major free agent. They have two of the brightest young stars in the league, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and some quality young role players, Dario Saric, Robert Covington. They're also hoping last year's No. 1 pick Markelle Fultz gets a mulligan on his strange rookie campaign. The Warriors almost certainly will enter next season as the most talented team in the league. But the gap between Golden State and other top teams is closing.